What's going on? What's going on, everybody? We're doing some live streaming tonight. I'm just doing a Q&A, and I'm dressed as Yoda for the entire broadcast. And no, I'm not really going to be dressed as Yoda for the entire broadcast. I am going to take this off shortly. I just wanted to kind of do some Q&A and talk to you guys a little bit. A lot of cool stuff coming up. This coming week, I'm going to be announcing winners of the X-Wing giveaway. And yeah, it's time to... Hold on, before we take it off, let's use my new toy here. Shall we? Shall we embrace the power? Oh, there it is. Oh, it feels strong. The Force is definitely with this. You will subscribe. I love this thing. Alright. So, that really messes up your hair. That's for sure. So, what's the first, number one? What are we going to talk about today? I got some cool stuff I want to show you guys before we dive into the Q&A. Because I had actually a couple of people who were asking me some stuff. Because I got a couple of things. Let me... There we go. Freaking awesome. I love this thing. It's a mashup of all kinds of things. And I don't know where in the heck. Okay. I'm going to try and put it right there. Alright. Alright, so we're going to... Let's see, what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about... yes. So first things first. Like, one of the big things that happened, I just got done with Dice Tower Con recently, so... big stuff that happened there. You know, actually, that was a lot of fun. I got to talk with some developers. I got a close-up of this Cthulhu Kickstarter with Eric Lang. I got like a real up-and-close demo from that. So that's a fun one. I'm definitely going all in on that Kickstarter. There's a Siege Storm Kickstarter going on right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to back it or not. I already backed it, but I don't know if I'm going to, you know, go high all the way in. And hey, everybody that's joining us, we are just getting started. But the big thing is I got a bunch of Mel miniatures. So I ordered a bunch of stuff. Actually, and I ordered some from another company too on Shapeways. So this is my first gaming Shapeways order. I've ordered some nunchucks on Shapeways before because they had them for the like 6-inch scale, so I used them with my Marvel Legends and Black Series. So have done that. Very cool. great accessory. 3D printing is just awesome. But I want to show you guys some of like the stuff. Well, we got to resize a few of these things because I want to show you guys some of the goodies. There we go. There we go. I got to resize these pictures because they didn't come out. There we go. All right. So this is the Corvus, and this is basically just a Raider, but it's the Corvus Raider from Battlefront 2. And I did an unboxing of this, but I've also done a paint job on it. So this is kind of how it came out afterwards. It was in the frosted ultra detail, so really nice. Big fan of the frosted ultra. It's more expensive. It's way more expensive. So yeah, like awesome, totally worth it. If in the event, right, like all these naysayers, like, oh, Armada is dead, Armada's, you know, it's not even close. Like, you should see, Orlando, how many people we have playing Armada right now. I just got back from a tournament today. We had 11 people, and this wasn't a store championship. This was just a normal in-store, like, hey, let's just all have people get together and play Armada. 11 people playing today. It's nuts. X-Wing sometimes doesn't get that many. For a regular, just run-of-the-mill, you know, it was awesome. And I'm just looking at some of the... so those Mel miniatures, Ghost... All right, so Matthias Greyjoy, I have something for you specifically because you asked about this, and I figured other people would want to know as well. So I did take a picture of the... so here's this. I got the Rebels crew. So I'll be getting to your question specifically. So I did get the Rebels crew. and they came out. They were in the ultra frosted detail, and I was like, oh, they look amazing. We'll see how they look with primer on them. They had some white primer on them. They looked all right. They came out pretty good, but not perfect. There were certain parts, like certain minis were better than others. Like Sabine, I think, was a really good one. Chopper was really good. Zeb was pretty good. Ezra was all right. Kanan was okay. He had a lot of just flat chest area, like with no detail. Hera was pretty good as far as the detail on like her head, but parts of her body, like the plastic, like around like her midsection area, got almost like rough. It wasn't as smooth, and so when it was painting it, it started to handle the brush in a strange way. So here's them completed, and they're not fully complete. Like these lightsabers can use some touch-ups. I might go back, but I got to a stopping point, and I said, that's good enough. I have a ton of other things that I still need to paint, and so like I was looking up a lot of pictures and trying to get some of the stuff. I put like the Phoenix symbol on Sabine's base, although I had to do it all by hand, and it was rough. Yeah, but anyway, they came out good. They were recognizable, but there was a lot of parts like Ezra's shirt, for example. He's got all these multicolored. He's got like different layers on his jacket, and Ezra's torso is just flat, like it's one piece. So you have to just draw the layers where you think they should be. So there is a little bit of that. Again, it's not perfect. But it's great for what it is, and it's one of those things where I feel like when FFG does the FFG miniature will probably have more detail in those parts. But of course they're using molds and not 3D printing, so I don't know that much about that many things, but I imagine an FFG mini is going to end up being a little bit better quality. But the scale might be different. Point in case, let's look Hera next to Hera from Imperial Assault. Now, Mel from Mel's Miniatures, or Mel Miniatures, pointed out that like the FFG models are exaggerated proportions, and you can see kind of like these fleet troopers to the side here. So you are seeing, like they have like extra large heads, extra large hands that aren't exactly proportionate. Like Hera here is like realistic proportions, and you can see this pretty clearly when you look at the Hera from Imperial Assault. She's got the extra large head and everything like that. But her detail is more exaggerated. Like those straps going around the legs, those are like barely raised on the Mel Miniatures one, whereas they're far more pronounced, and like a wash can sit in there and catch, and so like exaggerated detail on the FFG miniature, which makes for easier painting. Like a lot of like if I took my pictures slightly at a distance, because if I get too close with them, like there's going to be certain parts where you're going to see like where the plastic starts to become less perfect, and however, I will point out that on the Corvus miniature, I didn't notice any of these problems at all. I'm going to go back. This thing was like a dream come true. This thing was absolute perfection for me after I got the primer on it and painting it. No problems at all. And I think it boils down to straight lines. I think Mel Miniatures is probably like the best bet to go for ships that involve straight lines. Like I didn't take any of the whale, but because whale was in a whole different type of plastic, so I didn't think it was a fair comparison to make because it was in just the regular white plastic, the regular white filament. So, but when something's straight, I think it's much easier for electronics, for computers to print. Straight lines, nice and smooth, no problem. But when with these, you have all these curves of a torso and a figure, and all these curvy lines, and I think that's where the plastic starts to break apart. And yeah, so while I have no problem ordering from Mel's again, it's like now I have a better idea of exactly what I'm going to get. And again, I'm not knocking it. It's good stuff. It wasn't like super expensive. But I think I will probably be more likely to stick to ships. So I think X-Wing and Armada are definitely a really, really good way to go. If you're going to go with something like, like figures that have a lot of natural curves, you may want to stick a little bit more. I mean, and it's fine if you're a really good painter or whatever, but like I just know that the quality is going to break down a little bit with the curves. And so we had that one. And then I had Spaceball heads too, and these guys aren't done. I just kind of have a rough coat on them. I'm going to have to go back up and clean them up. I've got Lord Helmet up here, and then the Spaceballs, the Sans Comb right now. So I do have the Spaceballs as well. And oh, one more thing, because these guys aren't fully done yet. I'm still going to put a little wash on them, and then I'm going to put some Ard Coat to like gloss up their helmets and their black parts of their armor. But these are meant to be like the and they even have the little butt plates I put on. But it's not perfect. I wasn't trying to make it perfect. They were just to be for fun. So they're going to be imperfect. I might try to paint a tie onto our Dark Helmet, you know, because he has that little kind of a tie. You know, we'll see. But the other thing I wanted to show you guys was this. I've already done a review on the Magna Racks from Battle Foam, but when I ordered it at the convention, I was at Dice Tower and they had a presence there. I ordered this in the middle. You'll be able to see over here. There's like a larger one kind of in the middle. Now those are the 6-inch pegs. That's not what comes. It comes with like a 4, a 3, and a 2. So I ordered like the 6-inch pegs, which really gives it a lot of space. This fixed a major problem I had with the Magna Racks. Is that like the 2-inch one at the top where you see Vader and Veers, and then that white Veers, which is actually my friend Sean painted a Veers for me as Thrawn. It came out great. That one is, you can't really fit that many minis in there because you won't be able to reach in and get them. So I figure I'll just put Imperial Commanders and Operatives and stuff like that in there. So Boba Fett will go in there if he fits. He may not fit, but that's a different story. You know, but that 6-inch thing where I have all those troopers and the speeder bikes in the back, now I have all this room that I can just reach in and grab, and it's awesome. And then like the 4-inch where I have the Rebel troopers, I still have enough room in there to reach in and grab. So this is actually turning out to be, now at this point I've extended it up high. It wobbles a little bit, just a teensy little bit, so not much. It doesn't bother me at all. But it wouldn't it's not at a point where it would fit in one of the bags. I'd have to take one of the levels out to make it fit into a bag. But I didn't buy any bags. I just bought this one because I wanted the shelving. And of course, I didn't stack the top, like there's little bolts that you put down on the top. I didn't lock those in, so if I need to just take a piece off to take with me to a tournament, I can do that as well. But I just really wanted a nice, simple solution for, you know, and pretty. It's a beautiful storage solution. So very much happy with Magna Racks. They're really expensive though. This I got a hell of a deal on this. This whole thing was $100. And that's still expensive. Like I could have gotten something from like IKEA that I would have to do some work and make a homebrew solution that would have been cheaper, but this is just very elegant and beautiful, and big fan of it. If I had to pay shipping and order off their website, it would have been way more expensive. So if you see you know, Battle Foam at a con and you can get a deal like in person and not have to pay shipping, you might want to jump on that offer because I'm very impressed with these Magna Racks. So, that being said, well, we're back to here. Let's go back to the Q&A. So, now I'm going to get such, I'm going to be looking at some of your questions now. Let's see what I can find. All right, so let's see. So, hopefully, Matthias Greyjoy, hopefully that answered your questions about the size comparison between Mel Miniatures and the Hera. So, hopefully that was good. Let's see what else we've got here. All right, what do I think of the rule update for Star Wars Legion? I'll be honest, I haven't played Legion in like 2 weeks. I've been doing a little bit of Armada lately, but I did see there was some clarifications on things, and from what I looked at, I didn't look at it in too much depth, but it looked like everything made sense. So, so that's good. That is a good thing. And there was one rule in particular I was just like, oh yeah, because there was the thing about, yes, there was a thing about legged vehicles versus wheeled or treaded vehicles, you know, how they would provide heavy cover, and I was very pleased to see that because reasons, you know, that's so that I was afraid of, because I did not like that there was just this rule that said, you know, legged vehicles provide light cover, or sorry, all ground vehicles provide light cover. Because what happens if there's a bigger ground? What if there's a juggernaut or something like that? Like, you mean to tell me that this giant piece of steel in front of me only provides light cover, the same as a tree or a bush? Baloney, you know? And so, like, it makes sense for the ground vehicles that are in the game now, but we don't know what is coming. And so it seems like certain ground vehicles would not, hopefully they'd do better. Let's see. Can we see? All right, let's see. If Armada was to get new factions, what factions are you wanting to play as? Clone Wars. Easy. There's already totally flushed out, ships for both sides. Tons of Jedi, tons of, bad guys, famous droids, like Dooku, Asajj Ventress, Grievous, Mace Windu, Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, all these Jedi you could fit. Like, I even think if they did Clone Wars for Armada, you could get away. Like, some people saying, well, the balance wouldn't be right. You'd have all this old stuff. Yeah. Well, imagine this. First off, you can fix everything with points cost. I think, like, Clone War pilots, for example, would be better than TIE Fighter pilots. So, like, while a Venator might not be able to beat a Star Destroyer in combat, and I wouldn't expect it would be a medium ship anyway, might not even be able to beat a Victory. It could be, like, similar to a Pelta as far as firepower. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe, like, 4 dice in the front and 4 dice on the sides. Like, similar to an Interdictor's power level as far as shooting, right? Maybe. But maybe when you put a Jedi on there, like, maybe the Republic is going to come with Jedi crew that can, and it'd be expensive crew. Like, Mace Windu should be like a 25-point officer or something like that. That, like, greatly increases the firepower of his ship, or something like that, like battle meditation, right? Because the Clone Wars have stuff that the Galactic Civil War simply doesn't, and that's an abundance of Force users on both sides. So, I would love to see that. Plus, your clone pilots are trained more than a TIE Fighter pilot, so I think your ARC 170s and stuff like that could be great, strong factions, and that, and then your CIS can have cheaper swarms even than TIE Fighters, so you can have a lot of really interesting stuff. I would love to see that. And the only reason I don't say sequel trilogy is just because there's not enough stuff flushed out yet. Maybe after Episode 9, then I'd be down for sequel trilogy for Armada. And that kind of answers some of the other. There were some other questions about Clone War factions. Do I think they should add Boba Fett into Legion? And I say that people already corrected you. Boba Fett is in. Well, he's coming to Legion. He's not in Legion yet. Like, we don't have him in hand yet, but he is being made, and his previews are already up. Check out my videos for that. As a matter of fact, just search for Crabbok Legion Boba Fett, and you will find I will be giving you all the rundown on Boba Fett. Boba Fett. I hope they make a Black Series Boba Fett helmet. That'd be kind of cool. All right. Question for X-Wing. Do you think we will get mission packs or X-Wing campaign expansions? That's an interesting question. So, here's what I think. Because I was talking to some people about this yesterday. Not yesterday, a few days ago. And I think there was some confusion on what is coming in the future for X-Wing 2.0. In that, like, they had originally said, I'm going to use, let's say, the X-Wing and TIE Fighter expansions, for example. And like the Slave 1. Let's use the Slave 1. Everything that comes in the Slave 1 expansion pack, minus the ship and minus the plastic, like all the pilots and upgrades and everything, are in the conversion kits for Scum, for example. And they said you wouldn't have to rebuy any of this stuff. But I was talking to some other people that had maybe seen an interview or something that I hadn't, and they said, no, that only applies to this first wave of X-Wing 2.0. In the future, like when they make a new K-Wing or B-Wing, etc., those are subject to come with all new stuff that's not in the conversion kits. And I'm not sure if that's actually accurate or not, because I heard it differently. So I am thinking that if that happens, that might be an opportunity for them to release card packs or mission packs, because it'd be like the same thing, like, oh, well, hey, we told you wouldn't have to rebuy all your new stuff, so if you only want the new cards, you can also get them in this mission pack or something like that. And it would be helpful for people who wanted additional upgrades or new EPTs and stuff like that. That's maybe something like that they will do. Kage M, or Cage M, asks, have I flown the TIE Reaper yet? I hate to say it, but no, I haven't. Primarily because of a lot of... I want to fly it in 2.0. Like, I'm mentally done with 1.0 right now. And a lot of that has to do with I play so many different games. And because I talk about different games and I like make daily videos about all of these games, it becomes taxing. It was a challenge for me when I was playing X-Wing and then Armada came out, because I would get the rules for those confused. And now, you know, I play X-Wing, Armada, and Legion, as well as occasionally, you know, like something like Rebellion or Imperial Assault, or, you know, it's possible I might even play a game of Destiny here or there. You know, so with so many games that I play, it's like I don't want to. I want to start to forget X-Wing 1.0, and as I'm absorbing X-Wing 2.0, as that becomes mainstream, I don't want to, because I'm in a position where, like, if I say something and I get a rule wrong, I have to hear about it for weeks and weeks, because I get all these comments. Oh, you did this wrong. Like, look at any of my battle reports. I mean, not any battle report, but a lot of my battle reports will make mistakes. It does happen, and I hate that, but it happens, and I'd rather, you know, I don't know, I'd rather not have to take, you know, 5 hours to play a game perfectly, and rather just get the game, because to me the games are about fun. But I know some people, you know, some people get really upset if somebody's putting a battle report on YouTube and there's a mistake in it. And the only thing I can do about that is I do my best and try to minimize those mistakes, and then own up to it when somebody, you know, when it gets pointed out. A lot of times I'll even pin, you know, if somebody points out something, a lot of times I will go and pin it so that it's the top comment so other people will see, and that hopefully will help the audience. But that being said, so I'm trying, like, for me to play X-Wing 1.0 right now, it's hard because I'm trying to absorb the 2.0 rule set, and and with this last con and this whole stuff about not being able to do any video content on 2.0, I kind of got bummed out, and so I didn't really touch 2.0. So I haven't used the Reaper yet, and I want to, but yeah, have not yet. What are your thoughts about Solo? Well, I've talked about this a couple other times, but I can talk about it again. I think it was a really well done movie, and when it comes out on Blu-ray or digital or whatever, I'll be happy to buy it and watch it again. And it was good. Wasn't my favorite, because I was hoping to see maybe more of a space battle, especially more of an epic space battle in a Star Wars movie. I didn't really expect that to be in Solo, but that's what I like. I'm more of a big space battle or Jedi kind of person. So Solo was never going to be the type of movie that I was crazy about. It was going to be like a solid B tops before even I went to go see the movie. And then also it was a backstory, so there's only so much risk they can put the characters in, and I'm not going to care, you know, unless of course they're going to change the timeline and kill Han Solo in the first 5 minutes, and then you find out that he was actually a doppelganger all along, you know, or something like that. Then I would have been like, whoa, mind blown. I love to have my mind blown in a movie theater. PG-13, guys. Anyway, and so yeah, it's like it wasn't that great of a movie for me, but I mean, it was a good movie. It just wasn't. It didn't have the content that I was looking for, but that doesn't mean. I mean, it was still done well. It was done very well, and it was an enjoyable movie to watch, and I will watch it again. But in the same way that I will watch The Fifth Element, great movie, you know. It's just not my favorite of all time. I mean, that's a really great movie, actually. But okay. All right. For Armada, how do you feel about interdictors in the current meta? I found that they're too vulnerable to ship spam, but I think they look so cool. Oh, I don't know, dude. I think first off, it depends what you mean by spam, because running 2 interdictors is definitely viable. Definitely. I don't know about 3. I've never tried 3. 3 would be interesting. But no, there's a guy who plays in all of our Armada tournaments, and he runs a double interdictor list, and he makes very subtle changes to it. But the meat and potatoes of it is, 2 interdictors. He ends up doing 2 of the Gravwell tokens that give you speed 0 if you deploy. So you can pretty much, you can put those and cover a big area. So you can make sure you deploy either outside of the zone or in the zone at speed 0. And then he does the Gravwell where he pulls objectives close. He bids high for second player, so you have to pick one of his objectives. or and he picks objectives that are going to give him points, and then he just sits on the objectives and goes real slow. So you have to come to him. Runs his disposable capacitors, heavy ion emplacements. So when you do start getting close, even at long range, you can drain your shields really well from any angle because the interdictor's got lots of blue dice. Runs Brunson on one of them, pulls the objects close. He's always going to have Brunson, so he can cancel dice at long range. Like double interdictors are really nice. And then if you do get into close range, he's got the interdictor title and also the other one that lets you forces somebody to reroll up to 4 dice. And he can do that twice in a round, so it's really hard to kill them. And he does like engineering constantly, and he like transfers shields from one interdictor to the other. So it's like you can really do a lot with interdictors. But you have to play. I think you have to be playing for objectives. You can't hunt somebody down, and that's the thing. So interdictors you want second player for. I think. For Armada, what do I think is all around better for ships? Imperials or Rebels? That's a really good question. And I don't know for sure. I would lean a little bit more towards Imperials right now. And a big part of that is because that's what I see more of. I see more people playing Imperials. A little bit more. But still, it's a tough one because I feel like both factions are very well balanced right now with each other. So it's not like a 75-25 or a 60-40. If there's an imbalance, I think it's more of like a 51-49 or 52-48. So they're both within a margin of error where they're very well balanced. But I might give the edge to the Empire because they still have something the Rebels don't, and that's that experimental retrofit that the interdictors have. That's something the Rebels, it's unavailable to Rebels. They also have, they don't have the better bombers, but they also have, they have Architans. They have Architans, and just they have more people playing Empire right now. What's my prediction for the next Legion announcement? We have the Senate and his guards. What comes after that? It's definitely going to be, I think from the Thrawn trilogy, I think we'll see Jorus Sabayoth come with Luke Skywalker and an army of clone Lukes with body parts falling off because it's like a failed clone experiment. That would be interesting. How do you feel about the tabletop simulator mods for all Fantasy Flight games? All right, so I have Tabletop Simulator and I don't like using it, mostly because I prefer to play tabletop games on a physical table with actual people that I can talk to. I can pour you a drink, we can sit down, we can shoot the breeze, laugh, and have a good time, all that, and socialize. So tabletop gaming for me is about more than just playing the game. It's also about the socializing aspect. So not a big fan of Tabletop Simulator, also because Tabletop Simulator has its own learning curve on certain things, like how do you, like trying to play Armada, and it was really weird when I've tried to do that. I haven't tried lately, but I've played like 1 or 2 games of X-Wing and TTS, and I've played like 1 or 2 games of Destiny and TTS, and I'm like, okay, this is okay, but it's kind of cumbersome. It's like it's a cool option, and I'm very grateful for the option. It's a cool option, especially to learn a new game that's not out yet. So it was useful for Legion before our Legion came out. People could go in there and do their mock games. It's useful for games that are on Kickstarter right now. There's a game called Nemesis people made a TTS for it might not be here for a couple of years. So it has its uses, but I would just so much rather play in person. Or at least on a more polished interface. Like if they ever make Destiny and they make a digital FFG Interactive makes a digital version of Destiny, I'll play that because I like when a product is polished and designed to work very specifically and be very user friendly. Do I think a Trade Federation faction and Armada is a good idea with their different capital ships? Well, it wouldn't be the Trade Federation. I think it would be the CIS. Confederation of Independent Systems. So, because the Trade Federation, I think, was just one of the federated factions within the CIS. But yeah, I think that would be great. I mean, just the Lucre Hulks, like the donut looking ships from Phantom Menace, and those would be huge too. So I'm all about big ships. I'd love to have those on the board, even if they didn't move. I want all this. I want too many things. Have I finished an Armada campaign? I almost did. We didn't do the very final battle, but we had 500-point fleets, and it felt very similar to regular 400-point fleets. So it's not hard. It's not hard to do, and I think I would love for Armada to officially raise the limit to 500. I would love to drop money on. That is kind of the problem with Armada. If Armada's going to get new factions, they need a new Essentials, like a cheaper core set, because that's like, you know, I was talking to some guys today, and you know, well, the one thing that people always say is like Armada's too expensive to get into, and I get that. So a cheaper core set option definitely is needed, but also it takes a long time to play a game. And some games are over much quicker than others, and I find that squadron-heavy builds tend to take a lot longer. And so I would love, like, if they ever did an Armada 2nd edition, I would love for them to find a way to really speed up the squadron aspect of the game, or just speed up the game altogether. I'm not as big of a fan of the squadron play in the game. I would rather it be changed to just be cards or like green dice or something else like that. But I know a lot of people really like the squadron miniatures, so I don't know if like getting rid of the squadron miniatures is really the best way to go. I just wonder if there's another way to do it that would make them, I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to really, you know, because the squadron miniature, like, it takes time playing with squadrons, and it also takes, it's imprecise, you know, they end up getting picked up a lot and just put back down. It might not be in the exact same position. It's very imprecise, and it'd be nice if there was a way to make the game more precise, you know, less fuddly with all the picking up squadrons and squadrons all over the place, especially when you've got a whole Reimer ball in front of you and you're moving through it, and you know, all right, place all of these guys wherever you want. It's just, you know, that's one thing I think the game could improve, and maybe there's going to be a better, cleaner way to do that. I'm not sure. Maybe tinier stands. Maybe the ships are made out of sponges, and the squadrons come on little safety pins, and you just stick them in. I don't know, but yeah. All right, let's see. Do I think a Hammerhead Corvette Swarm is effective? So I think they can be. I think Hammerheads require a little bit more. I think they have a steeper learning curve in how to fly them, because you got to have they have only that front arc pretty much, and you got to stay at long range for, you know, if you can. I've had some Hammerhead Corvette Swarms do really well against me, and I've had mixed luck with Hammerheads. But one of the things that makes Hammerhead Corvette Swarms nice is that they can take gunnery teams. So if you're running like Spinal Armament, you can run gunnery teams and you get 3 dice on 2 different targets. That's your front arc. That's always cool. So I like that. Let's see. Let's find. Oh, I scrolled down. I lost. All right. Let's see. We got some more questions here. All right. Let's see. Oh, Joe, why ain't we bros no more? Joe, we are bros. We are definitely bros. Do you think Super Star Destroyers will be coming soon, if at all? Yeah. I really hope so. I mean, we don't have Piet yet. That's one thing we know. And Piet was the commander of the Executor, rather. So the fact that we don't have Piet tells me a Super Star Destroyer is probably coming. Because, I mean, look at all the other commanders that they've pulled from to get. Like, they're pulling from the new books now with Sloane. You know, even freaking Bionic Eye, Screed. You know, like they're pulling all these, you know, off the wall, you know, characters, and not Piet yet. So yeah. what would be my ideal Star Wars game, video game or otherwise? Well, for a board game, I want more multiplayer, truly multiplayer games. So it's not, I've done the game we need. If you look it up, if you look up like Crabbok, the game we need, I kind of outline what I would like in a board game. But the too long didn't read version is like a 3 to 5 player game. The Empire is AI controlled. They fly around the galaxy doing things. You have to avoid them or fight them if you want. And you pick one early faction of the rebels. Maybe you pick Mon Mothma's rebels. Maybe you pick Saw Gerrera's partisans. Maybe you pick, Admiral Akbar's Mon Calamari. Maybe you pick Enfys Nest's Marauders. Maybe you pick Dodonna's, Yavin rebels or whatever. But before they were united under one rebellion, okay? And you saw a little bit of this at the beginning of Star Wars Rebels, how they weren't united. Maybe even Ahsoka has a team, and you pick as Ahsoka. And you pick one of these factions, and they all have different tactics and things that make them a little bit different. Obvious ones are like Saw Gerrera versus Mon Mothma will have drastically different strategies, and then maybe in between them is like somebody like Enfys Nest, who is still about aggressive attacks on the Empire, but more hit and run, less about killing and more about stealing. So things like that. But I would like to see like in play where you like maybe you can make a diplomacy with another faction. Like make temporary, alignments and then break them and alliances rather. Like that would be pretty cool. I would like something like that for a tabletop game or a bounty hunter game where we're all competing for the best bounty. Basically, I wanted to play multiple people where there's one winner. I don't like games like trying to play 4-player Rebellion when 2 of us are going to just jointly decide what the rebels do. I'm like, that's baloney. I don't like that. For a video game, I would love a sandbox single-player game, kind of like Skyrim, that's as open-ended and detailed as Skyrim and has the physics and open-endedness of like Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but that also lets you get a ship and that you can fly in, and then you can do anything you want. Wouldn't mind a version of that also that is like an MMO that you can get into a ship with all your friends. And I want a crewed ship option, kind of like Battlefront 2's space battles. I want a Battlefront 2 space battle game that's just the space battles, like X-Wing and Armada are like but the video game version. Whereas if we have a group, right, like maybe we're going to go into a queue as a group, we can get like a Star Destroyer. Maybe a whole guild can actually run that, and I can have like 8 gunners in my Star Destroyer. And so maybe some people will get TIE fighters. Maybe you can get like 3 or 4 people to man a Corvette. And so I just want there to be versatility instead of everybody flying a tiny small fighter. I want there to be people actually controlling the capital ships. It'd be really, really fun. And bigger space maps. Would love something like that too. I think that could be a lot of fun. What is my dream ship for X-Wing epic scale? Well, there was a cease and desist order against Space Rocks a long time ago to stop them from making Nebulons. So it makes me wonder, when is FFG going to release a Nebulon? That's maybe my dream ship for X-Wing epic right now. And Architons in theory could work also, because like the store I play at, one of the stores I play at, Sci-Fi City, has a Nebulon. It's been in some of my bat reps before. So yeah, I would like to see an actual Nebulon come out. What ship am I looking forward to in X-Wing 2.0? I think the Fang looks like maybe the most fun right now. I kind of would say the X-Wing, because of the redesigned S-foils, but I already have the Partisan X-Wing, so I'm like, it's okay. I'll tell you this, though, the paint job on that X-Wing looks awesome. So in X-Wing 2.0, you're going to see that new X-Wing is going to look great. Alright, have I ever wondered if Armada and Imperial Assault can combine a space battle, then ground assault? you know, combining those games can be done. A lot of people have tried to do stuff like that. I know a lot. There's somebody on Discord right now who has written a scenario combining multiple games, and it's definitely doable. But I think the problem you run into is that now a session takes so long because you have to like, you know, you have to run a full game of Armada, then a full game of Imperial Assault. So now one gaming session and now can take like 4 hours. You know, so it becomes very cumbersome to do something like that. If you have a bunch of people that all want to do it and are dedicated and have the time, then go for it. I usually don't have the time for that much. So. And Joe, I do love the X-Wings. It's just I'm less excited for them because I already have some. Whereas the other stuff that I don't have yet, I'm more excited. I'm more excited about the stuff that I don't yet have. I think that's part of just human nature. You want most what you don't have yet. So that's kind of it. Let's see. What am I looking for? Have I ever wondered if Armada? Oh, I got that one already. Let's see. Yeah, I think. Oh, wow. Do I get through all the questions for right now? I probably skipped a couple. I may have skipped a couple. Wow. Yeah. So funny thing is, I tried. Something is up, and I can't stream gaming or anyway right now. But like when I was trying to stream Battlefront 2 the other day, it was messing up, and I tried to stream something else, and then the bandwidth was getting all crappy. I don't know if it's like this net neutrality thing, and you have to pay more to be able to stream now, or what. But it's weird. But I was trying to play because there's a new mode in Battlefront 2 that's like Starfighter Hero mode. Don't like it. Don't like it at all because it's just 4 ships versus 4 ships in all this open space, and it was just like I didn't like it at all. Nope, too little, too late. Like Battlefront 2, like every time I try to go back to playing Battlefront 2, I'm like more and more disappointed. Thomas Ackelson, random question: do you play Fortnite? No. There's a funny reason because I have PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. And I've played that a few times, and it's an enjoyable game, and I have no doubt that I would enjoy Fortnite at least a little bit. But my kids really want to play Fortnite, and Mom said, "No, I don't want you guys playing games where you're killing each other." So, you know, I gotta side with my wife, and I don't want to be that dad who plays the game that the kids aren't allowed to play, and then they see me playing it. You know, I don't want to be like. I don't want to be a douche to my kids, right? So I specifically don't play Fortnite for that reason. That being said, come to find out after she had said that, you know, we looked into Fortnite, and I'm like, oh, hon, look, Fortnite is very cartoony, and it's not really violent. I mean, yes, there's shooting, but it's kind of cartoon shooting. It's not like I play other games like PlayerUnknown Battleground that are way more realistic looking than Fortnite and more, you know, like if you're concerned, you know. So it was just like one of those things where she had put her foot down, and now we're kind of stuck in it. So I'm kind of on exile from Fortnite. Can I punch someone with the Infinity Gauntlet? I don't know if I can punch somebody with this. We'll see. Do we have any volunteers? Do we have any volunteers? Will you volunteer? You come here. Metal! Ah! Wild stallions! Dude, this thing is so much fun, to be honest. Like, it would be really fun to punch somebody with it. You know, we could punch Yoda. He didn't like that. Is there a ship in Armada that I never fly? Do I have a ship or squadrons that you just dislike or are useless? That's a tough one. I try to deliberately seek out and fly ships. I try to deliberately fly ships that I never fly. So I will go ahead, like I just flew a few weeks ago, I flew Akbar Nebulons, like 3 Nebulons with Akbar, and so like it was fun, and not one of them was Yavaris either. So I'll deliberately try to fly ships that I don't usually fly. I think the one ship I'm most out of practice with right now is probably the MC-30, and that's a good ship, so it's not like there's anything wrong with it. I just haven't had any specific lists that really called out for me to use that one lately. I do not play Rainbow Six Siege rather. So yeah, Joe, you said I did mention wanting to buy a bunch of Renegades because the X-wings, but that was before we knew about 2.0, and that I was gonna have to get an X-wing in the core set, and also probably an X-wing blister pack just to do the unboxing for purposes of being complete. And by the way, FFG sent me a copy of Wave 14 as a review copy. So I don't know, for those of you guys who have been following me for a while, you'll know that when Armada Wave 7 came out, I got an early version of that to review, and that was really, really, really exciting. And I was super, super happy. Like I wasn't even expecting. Like I didn't know when it was coming. Like I was asking for it, but I didn't have any like shipping notice or even an email saying, okay, it's on the way. Like it just, my doorbell rang and there was an Asmodee box at the door, and I was just like, you know. So I got this X-Wing Wave 14, you know, the Reaper and the Saws Renegades. Got it like 2 weeks after it came out, and I'd already bought two. So I have like a third copy of each now. So yeah, I have a lot of X-Wing Wave 14. So when you do start seeing X-Wing 2.0 bat reps, there's gonna be a lot of TIE Reapers flying around that board. Just saying. And so now I have a lot. I already have 3 of the new X-Wings. I'm probably gonna give one of these. I have a friend who may be playing, so I'm, you know, probably hook him up if he decides he wants to play X-Wing. All right. Let's see. Am I going to Celebration? I don't know. Probably. Maybe. Well, a lot of that's going to depend. I really don't know just yet. I would like to, and I probably have the ability to, but it just depends. It's a long ways out, and it depends because I want to actually go with my wife. I want us to take a little vacation because there's also a lot of other stuff to do in Chicago. So I think my wife would have a good time. A lot of cool restaurants to go to. I think it'd be a cool opportunity to go see Chicago, as well as new Star Wars stuff. But trips are expensive, and you got to budget for things like that. If I get a whole bunch of new patrons, though, then I can definitely make sure that happens. Don't play Destiny 2 either. I don't play that many PC games anymore. Let's see, what do I play? Hearthstone, Overwatch, sometimes StarCraft 2, but only the arcade because I'm really bad at actually micromanaging StarCraft 2. Dragon Ball Fighter Z a little bit. I did get this thing working. I have this X Arcade 2-player joystick that I will pull that out from time to time and let the kids play with me. That thing is a beast, and it's absolutely magnificent. But it didn't want to work with modern games because it's for an old arcade emulator. But I got this driver and this emulator for it to make it resemble like regular joysticks and stuff. So now it works perfect, and it's awesome. All right. Oh, Thomas, you won a tournament with that Sea-Rock loadout. Awesome. Well, I'm glad, man. Thank you. I'm glad that worked out. How do I get ship-based tokens for Mel miniatures for Armada that are the correct size? Ship-based tokens. Well, I have no idea. Like, I just ordered the ship, and I put it on a different ship base. So it's like you're swapping out the model for one ship versus the other. You know, and if you're doing Legion stuff for like ordering 3D printed stuff like that, one of the things you can do is get another Battlefield Supplies pack. You get a whole bunch of bases in there. Now they are going to be making bases, but I don't know when those actual like Death Star looking bases are coming out. So in the meantime, get yourself a second Battlefield Supplies pack if you're playing Legion, right? And then just use the extra stuff as just scatter terrain, ignore it, right? And then keep all those bases. You get a whole bunch of stuff. That's a lot of value in that pack. I really like the Battlefield Supplies pack. And what is my favorite ice cream flavor? Well, I can't have ice cream anymore. We're on this keto diet, and I'm down to like 192 pounds right now, which is awesome. It's really awesome because like I was like 240 at Thanksgiving, so working on that figure. Anyway, but when I do eat ice cream, honestly, as a child it was mint chocolate chip, but right now I just miss like French vanilla. And I like to put things, because I like to add stuff to my own ice cream. French vanilla ice cream with some chocolate chips and maybe a little peanut butter and just swirl it. I like that. Or Nutella. Put some Nutella in some French vanilla ice cream. Oh yeah. Man, that's key lime pie. I'll tell you what. My wife is the one who really, really loves key lime pie. But if you were going to go down to Key West, there was a place, I don't know if it's still there, called the Blonde Giraffe, and they have this thing, this key lime pie on a stick dipped in chocolate, and it hardens, and you eat it almost like an ice cream cone or something like that. That's freaking life-changing. It's amazing. Oh, the cardboard. You're talking about the cardboard parts for Armada. I think that a lot of those came from Quat Drive shipyards, where people got their custom cardboard bases. Like, I'm not of the type where I'm ready to design custom ships yet. I think your boy Joe Boss is the person to talk to, because he does a lot of stuff like for Star Trek. Like my dream is that they will do Star Trek with the Armada rule set and design team, kind of like just take that entire, because dude, Star Trek would work so much better in Armada than Star Wars. Like, dude, just imagine, like, look at Star Trek. You know, I could talk for at length about this, so I just need to make it into a video, because, like, if you look at the different size comparisons, Star Wars has like these ships that are like so tiny and so big, and then like 10 times bigger than that, and then 10 times bigger than that. So it becomes absurd. Like, really, if you wanted to have a realistic scale, you could never have the supremacy, or you could never really even have an executor, a Super Star Destroyer on the board, right? But they use this really, really sliding scale, and that's how you get a Star Destroyer and a Corellian Corvette. Because the Star Destroyer should be like this big, you know, if the Corellian Corvette was going to fit easily into that hangar bay. But yes, Star Trek Armada. Well, would I ever do a 2,000 point Armada battle? Good question. I want to do something like that. 2,000 points. The only problem is you run out of space. You run out of space. So what do? Well, you could go with a bigger playing area. Like, I have some play mats that I used to use for like LCGs and stuff. They're like half the size. They're like 18 inches by 3 feet. You can flip one of those black side up, put that in between two mats. Now you just extended your play area by like 6 inches. I'm probably gonna do that. But I'm thinking about doing some 1,200 point battles, because I've done 800 points. 800 points is okay. It's easy. I'm going to increase it gradually. I don't want to jump straight into 2,000, because I'm afraid everything will be like you run out of room, and everything will just have to fly straight, and it won't be fun. Even though it might look cool, I don't think it'll be fun. So we'll have to, think a little bit more about deployments and things like that. That being said, there are some basic rules for doing like huge Armada games that I think would be gentlemanly rules, or sporting. I don't want to say gentlemanly, because I don't know any females that play Armada. But I imagine statistically, there probably are. So let's say a sportsmanlike or a sporting behavior for playing a game that big. And I think one of those is, all right, if you're running 2,000 points, please don't run 600 points of squadrons. Okay? Like, and have them be all TIE fighters. Because it'll be a 24-hour game, right? It won't be fun. So limit it to like maybe 200 points of squadrons or something reasonable, But yeah, let's see. Battlestar Galactica would work really, really good. But I want to do 1,200 point Armada. I saw, if you guys haven't seen, you should check out Master of the Fleet. I'm a big fan of theirs. I like the way that they do their battle reports. It's funny. I have to watch with headphones on though, because I try not to swear very much, but they do have a lot of they do have a lot of foul language. So you just have to have headphones on, or it's probably not safe for work if you're listening with open speakers. But their format is really good, and I like the way that they pass the camera. So each person, you're getting to see more of the die rolls and stuff, and you're getting to see it up close. And that's a problem I run into because I do all my recording. So it's either you're only seeing some of the action if it's a short. Like today, I uploaded a tournament report from this fleet I ran today, which is just me with the camera, just getting certain highlights. So you're not really seeing the full battle. But then when I mount the camera and do a full battle report, it's a little bit farther away, so you don't get like the close-up of all the action. I tried to find a hybrid of that in my last battle with Josiah Burkhartsmeyer, and I would take pictures periodically if something was interesting, and then I overlaid that into the battle report and had that like fly out and like, oh, here is this part. Here's a close-up of it, so I thought like that was pretty clever. So I'm always trying new things from time to time to give you guys a better report. But again, I haven't settled on anything. Maybe one of these Infinity Stones will imbue me with the wisdom to do it. Any news on the Battlestar Galactica game? So yes, maybe. They're going to be at Gen Con. It's not going to be for sale, so I've heard. A friend of mine put out a link, shared a link, oh, this is new art news about the game, and there was nothing new in it. It was just somebody else writing something about the game. I am in touch with Ares. I talked to an Ares rep at Dice Tower Con, who will also be at Gen Con, about kind of setting me up with an interview to get a demo of Battlestar Galactica. I've been in touch with Ares public PR, as well as the designer of the game, and hopefully, they said that they're going to send me a review copy when it's ready. So again, people say stuff, and that we'll see if it happens. Plus it's coming from Italy, so it might take a long time. But I don't know if it'll be ready by the end of the year or not. So it may be a long time. But I'm excited because I would love to play this. I think it'll be really, really fun. I don't know if it'll be an X-Wing killer, but I think it'll be something different, and I think it'll be a great game for me to cover, because I think most of you guys, if you like X-Wing and you like Star Wars, you're probably at least exposed to Battlestar Galactica, and I think you would like this comic because it's going to have inertia. So if you do a 3 straight this way, and then you want to turn, well, you're still moving this way, right? So it's like that old Atari game, Asteroids. You still have your momentum, so then you need to shift the other way to slow you down. Very, very cool. If you like The Expanse, if you like Battlestar Galactica, those realistic space physics, they're going to incorporate that into this game. I think that will make it very fun and make it feel different than all the other games. So it will definitely have a place at your table. And so I've been talking to them. I had some Q&A. Actually, I have a couple of videos about the Battlestar Galactica game. That's the most recent information that I have is in my latest video for that, which was still a few months ago. But they are going to be at Gen Con. I believe it's just going to be a demo copy, like a first look. I don't think it'll be for sale. But I have been in touch with them. I keep in touch with Ares, and hopefully I will be able to bring you a first look when it comes. I mean, if I'm really lucky, maybe I'll get some kind of exclusive, because I have been promoting. They've shared some of my videos on their Facebook page as well. So that gets me kind of an in, and I'm genuinely excited about it. And that's kind of what I hope is my driving. I'm not a business. I'm not a corporate entity. I'm just a dude in his house who loves gaming and loves talking to you guys about it. And hopefully that's, hopefully that's enough to, because I certainly think it's the coolest thing ever, especially when somebody is gonna give you some kind of interview or give you an exclusive or something like that. It's really cool. All right, I think we're gonna wrap things up here because it's getting a little bit late and I need to prep. So maybe I'll do 1 or 2 more questions, and then do I think Armada and Legion Star Wars RPG could be fun? So I haven't played any of the Star Wars RPGs, and a lot of that is because I have a hard time committing to the exact same game every week for 6 months, because I like to vary up my games, Legion this time, Armada next week, Rebellion the next week. Oh, next week we'll do something different, like Zombicide or Rising Sun, or maybe we'll do social games. We'll play Werewolf or something like that. But yeah. Joe, grab one and run. Yeah, I'm gonna. It will be the last time I go back to Gent. You won't hear from me for a long time. I can run, but I'm a slow runner. I can go distance, but I don't have the speed. That's my problem. All right. What X-Wing ship did I fly the least and why? First thing that comes to mind, that ugly quad jumper. Not once did I ever fly the quad jumper. So that's definitely the least. Why? Everything about it I thought was just boring. I had the backwards maneuver. I just didn't care. I just thought it was boring. And one of the things that made me not like it is it was in the game Disney Infinity. Disney Infinity, my kids still play that to this day. Very cool game. Had a lot of ships in it, too. A lot of Star Wars content. So actually, it was a really cool... It's a real shame that it got shut down because it was a wealth of content. It was a great way to get your kids interested in Star Wars, too. But the quad jumper was in there, and it was the only ship that had 0 weapons. It had no gun. If you look at the thing, it has no gun. It's just a transport ship. It's like a tugboat. It has no gun. So I'm like, when it was coming out for X-Wing, I was just like, well, this is going to be a dumb ship. It has no gun. Apparently it has a gun in X-Wing, but it's still weak, only 2 attack dice. So it was a weaker ship, and I just didn't like it. All right. What's the one tip you would give to new Armada players like me? Watch one of my most recent videos called Try Not to Win. Why winning isn't that important. Just focus on like achievements. Try to do something fun. Try to build a list that's supposed to be able to make something work. Like this card synergizes with this, or this ship, helps protect this ship, or this ship, gives something to that ship, and just try to make that actually happen. Try to make the synergies of upgrade cards work. And then maybe if you end up winning, then that works too. Like today, in today's tournament, I ran an Architans with Turbolaser reroute circuits. Okay, problem with running an Architans with a Turbolaser reroute circuits is sometimes you need to spend your evade for defense, right? But you might also want to spend your evade for offense, and you only have the 1 evade. So I ran tag as my commander so I could get defense tokens back. And so, and that was part of the synergy. And I ran other cards that synergized with tag. And my goal for today in today's tournament was just to try to make tag work. Try to make him prove himself as being a worthy commander. And overall, he did. So whether or not I won my games or lost my games, I set out to enjoy myself. And I had certain little micro goals. So what I call tabletop achievements. And I had several. I had a few tabletop achievements today. So I had a good time. And I did pretty well, too. Won both my games. It was a two-round tournament. 10-point victories for both. I still came in second place, though. That was wild. Because somebody else had a similar list. I had a lot of rogue fighters, and somebody else had, I lost 1 ship, and I used my flagship in the second match, but I still had so many objective points, it was still a 10-point win. I had a 300 margin of victory, but another guy had a 450-point margin of victory, and so he won on the tiebreaker points. Wow. I tried to, yes, I do take some of that feedback, Joe, because some other people have told me as well that, the camera can move, and you don't even, I'll be honest with you, I don't even realize it when I'm doing it, all right, because my head and hands are obviously moving at different speeds, but I have been trying to be very more careful about swinging the camera around when I do that style. But generally, more often than not, my battle reports are stationary camera now. I've been switching more to doing those as often as I can. So, is it wrong that you like VSDs more than ISDs? Possibly, because the ISDs can't take disposable capacitors, so VSDs can situationally be better than ISDs. Also, VSDs are less common, so maybe you like the stuff that's less used. All right, guys, I am going to wrap things up. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to close out the way I started it off. And we're gonna wave goodbye with the gauntlet. So, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for watching. And All right, one last question. Have I ever had multiple commanders in Armada for large games? One time, and we shared abilities, and it was crazy. Although you're supposed to have your commander only affect your ships, at least in the Corellian conflict. All right, you guys take care. Thank you again so much for watching, and have a great day. And punch to the audience. Face the wrath of Yoda's Infinity Gauntlet.